European river cruise in the middle of the winter. Good idea or no? And cruise passengers complaining about being in YouTube videos? In this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're going to talk about both of those things, so stick around. It is Sunday, February 23rd. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years of popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And my travel books, Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship and Places Please, have been enjoyed by thousands of readers around the world who love travel, cruises, and theater. So if you like to read and want to give me a little extra support, check them out on Amazon now. Okay, for me, people, 2025 seems to be becoming the year of like last minute travel plans. I think if you've been around here a while, you know, I don't usually plan very far in advance. I know there are people out there that have a cruise booked for this October and a down payment on a cruise for next March and then a Disney vacation planned for Halloween 2026. I can't do that. It's not that I can't do that, but like, my head can't do that. I know there are a lot of advantages to planning things further in advance, and in some ways, it's probably a way that you can travel more for a little bit less money. But I don't know, just the way that my life works, and especially the way that Marcus's job works, it's so hard for us to plan something really far in advance because we sit down and we think, how do we know what we're going to want to do in October of 2026? That's why I also can't like plan a week of food menus at home. I don't know what I want to eat tomorrow. And another factor that comes into play is a lot of times when you travel last minute, you can get even better deals. And that's definitely the case this time. So this video is going online for everybody on Sunday. Patreons and channel members will have seen it earlier, but I'm actually recording it on Thursday today. And just a couple days ago, I booked a river cruise that's leaving on Tuesday. So I guess I better start packing. And I'm really excited to try one of these lesser expensive European river cruise lines again. I have cruised with the Miss Viva Tiara. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Miss Viva the Diva Tiara. Okay, that was really embarrassing because there's people sitting all over the place. The Miss Viva Tiara. It's actually the MS Viva Tiara. The cruise line is Viva Cruises, and the MS, I just said, looks like a drag queen name, Miss Viva Tiara. So for this cruise, I'm cruising with the Miss Viva One. Or should I call it the Miss Viva Oni? I bet if I did that, I would get a lot of hate comments. So let me show you what I have coming up. If I go to the Viva Cruises website, I can change the language to English up here, and then if I just search for cruises in February, it's one of the first ones that comes up here. If you've never been on a European river cruise, let me just quickly go through this list of things that are included while on board, at least while on board this itinerary. It says full board with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And speaking of planning ahead, if they do this the same way that all the other river cruises do that I've been on, at breakfast time, I think, you have to choose what you want for lunch and dinner. So there are different options to choose from, but you don't choose what you want for dinner at dinner time. You choose it earlier in the day or maybe even the day before. We'll see. It also says here, high quality alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks all day from the entire bar menu, including soft drinks, juices, coffee, and so on. So basically, drink package included. Once per trip, they offer a high tea with a selection of sweet and savory treats such as scones, sandwiches, cupcakes, chocolates, macarons, and various teas. This reminds me, I have to ask you all something, especially my friends in the UK. There's something that you're supposed to do or not do with the little sandwiches at high tea. And I can't remember now what it is. You're either supposed to eat them with your fingers and not use a knife and fork, or you're supposed to use a knife and fork and don't dare touch them with your fingers.
What's the right way to do it?
Let me know in the comments. This is something that I don't remember having on my other river cruises, but it also says that there is a daily, freshly stocked mini bar that's included. I really like the reusable Viva water bottles that I got on my last Viva cruise, but I think I lost the one I had, so I'm excited to get a new one. And Wi-Fi and gratuities are also included, so that's a lot. I booked the cheapest cabin available, which is one of these cabins that is sort of at the water level with windows that are at eye level that don't open. I think it's basically the same size as the other standard cabins on board, but the other cabins have like a panorama window that you can open on one side, and they call that a French balcony. And because I got this on the Industry Insider's discount website, I'm not officially allowed to tell you what the price was that I paid for it, but I can tell you the total price with my train ticket to Düsseldorf and back from Hamburg. The whole thing is still costing me less than, let's say, 650 euros. And if you've done any traveling with the trains in Europe, you know a train ticket from Hamburg to Düsseldorf and back, if you buy it at the right time, costs around, let's say, 120 euros, just to give you a ballpark figure. The cruise is only a 4-night cruise, and I think that's going to be great for right now because
it's freaking cold outside.
And I think being on the river and then walking around in these cities all day, especially the cities over on the coast, it's going to be
even freaking colder.
But so you can see here, we leave Düsseldorf. The next day we have a very long day in Amsterdam. I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't have an overnight in Amsterdam. Many river cruises that do go to Amsterdam stay there overnight, and then you just use the ship as like your hotel. We don't do that. We have to be back on board by 10 o'clock. And the next day we have a very short stay in Rotterdam, which I think is disappointing because that's a city that I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. But if we get there at 6 in the morning, nothing's going to be open until like 10, and then we have to be back on board by noon. So it's going to be like walking around a cold city where there's nothing open. And on the same day, and this is something that people who have only done ocean cruises will maybe be surprised by, we stop at a different port in the same day, and that is Dordrecht. I don't know a single thing about Dordrecht, but let's see what it says here on the website. It says, the Dutch city of Dordrecht is a former trading city thanks to its location on the water. This past can still be felt in the town today, be it in the historic city center, at the harbor, or in one of the several museums. Also worth seeing is the Grote Kerk and the Augustinian monastery of the 13th century. A walk through Dordrecht is the best way to discover the history of the place. Well, all right. Wow. I also see that we're there until 11 o'clock at night, so maybe there's a good bar to go to later. And then on the next day, on the way back to Düsseldorf, we stop in Nijmegen, and Nijmegen is close to where Marcus grew up. So he's been there before, he kind of knows his way around, and the way it's looking right now, he's going to be able to come with me on the cruise, but because of certain work projects, he also might have to cancel last minute. So we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned. You'll find out soon, just like I will. And then on the 5th day, we arrive back in Düsseldorf. And here is something that I'm also really looking forward to. It's Carnival in Düsseldorf. So Carnival is basically like Mardi Gras, or actually, it's more like Mardi Gras is like Carnival. So the weekend is full of huge parties all around the city, and then Monday is the day where there's a huge parade. The whole city shuts down. Everybody goes and watches this parade and dresses up in crazy costumes and starts drinking at 10 in the morning. Not the worst way to spend a Monday. And I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure I'll be posting pictures of it on Facebook and Instagram as well. So that's my upcoming river cruise. I'm looking forward to experiencing it myself. I'm looking forward to showing you around. If you have any specific questions or things you want to see or know about, make sure you let me know soon, because like I said, it starts on Tuesday. And before we move on to this whole issue about people not wanting to be in YouTube videos on cruise ships, let me just remind you to please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't done it already. Okay, when I woke up this morning and was having my morning decaf mocha that I made with our fancy new coffee machine right there, I was watching one of the fun and entertaining videos from fellow YouTuber Tony at Lalito Loca, and he was saying that there was a passenger on a themed cruise that must have booked the cruise knowing that it was a themed cruise for, I think, John Heald, and that John Heald was walking around with his camera, and this guy walked up to him and was like,
"Don't put me in your video. I don't want to be on YouTube."
And that reminded me, I'm pretty sure that on my last river cruise, I had a similar uncomfortable situation. I was filming on the top deck, way away from everybody else, and this woman just decided to take a walk past and around me. Like, she literally purposefully walked to where I was to see what I was doing and then walked around me so she would be in the camera, and then she approached me to complain that she didn't want to be in the video and I didn't ask her permission. And I was like, what? There was also a time when I was on an ocean cruise where I was doing like a broad pan to film the atmosphere in a very crowded bar on board, and a passenger who was sitting on the other side stood up, walked all the way through this crowded bar over to me, and also complained that I wasn't allowed to post a video of any of these people unless I got their permission first, and especially not her, because she was cruising with somebody who wasn't her husband. At that time, I did a little bit of research, and as far as I know, these are still the guidelines, at least in the EU, or maybe it's in Germany specifically. You are allowed to record a group of people to post on the internet. A group is 6 people or more, as long as not one individual person is the focus, if they are doing something that could be detrimental to their well-being or their job or welfare. So like, if you're filming a bar and there's 5 people sitting at the bar and 1 bartender, that's 6 people, that counts as a group, no problem. If the bartender's like picking his nose and flicking it at the people at the bar, that would be something detrimental, and from what I understand, that's not allowed. And if it's just like one person singing karaoke, and they're like totally bombing and there's nobody else to see in the video, and you don't know this person and don't have their permission, I guess that's not allowed either. And honestly, that is kind of a dick move, isn't it? Basically, anytime you go out in public, anytime you go to a theme park or on a cruise ship, especially any tourist destination, there are going to be people with cameras everywhere. And I think it's really hard to control whose video you might show up in the background. And if you don't want to be filmed at all when you go to these places, then you either have to like rent out the whole place to yourself or just don't go. By the way, I always think it's like amazing and fun when you write to me to say that you saw you in the background of my videos, and that's happened a couple times now. And I've always wanted to show up in the background of somebody else's video too, not realizing that they were there filming. I think that would be fun too. All right, everybody, thanks for spending this part of your Sunday with me, or whatever day it is you choose to watch this. Make sure you check back soon for the videos of the Miss Viva Oni and some crazy pictures of Carnival in Düsseldorf. And I look forward to seeing you back here soon. Bye-bye.